The Sliding Sands Trail is one of the premier national park trails located on the island of Maui in Haleakala National Park.
Wow, look at the rainbow!
The trail descends 3,000 feet into a crater, crosses it, then hikes 1,600 feet back out. In order to even attempt it, you need to take 2 cars or hitchhike from the trailhead up to the summit. It's a crazy adventure and a hike that Amy and I will never forget. Here's all the information on the stunning Sliding Sands Trail, and let me know what you think in the comments. One of the things Haleakala National Park is known for is the sunrise from the top of the crater. We were able to secure permits in advance and then left about 2.5 hours before sunrise to drive to the top and to hopefully see it.
Here is our sunrise.
So beautiful.
Unfortunately, us and the 100 or so other people from 4 different tour groups that were all up there waiting for sunrise were all shut out. It was freezing and clouded over, so we waited for about 20 minutes and then decided to head on. Since the sunrise was a bust and we really wanted to get good views while we were hiking into the crater, we decided to drive back down, have breakfast, and then hope in a few hours it would be more clear.
I mean, an acai bowl is a pretty good reason to postpone a hike a little bit, right?
I'm not mad about it.
After driving down and having breakfast, we made the 30-minute drive back up on the windy road. In order to do the hike like we planned to do it, you have to hitchhike from one end to the other, and so we headed to the hitchhikers area.
Found our parking spot and we're about to go to the hitchhikers area. It didn't get much better, but we're here, so we got to do it. Hitchhikers pull out. How long do you think it's going to take for somebody to pick us up, Amy?
Probably like at least 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Yeah.
I'm going 19 minutes.
If you have 2 cars, you could shuttle between the 2, but most people choose to hitchhike, and this is sanctioned by the National Park Service, which created a hitchhiker's pullout just for this hike.
Woo! Hey, come on. There's 4 cars. There has to be able to let somebody go, huh?
There was 2 people here when we got here, and they actually got picked up within like 3 minutes, so maybe it won't be 20 minutes. We'll see.
Ooh. We look nice. It's like a sad puppy dog. Like, please pick us up.
I would say everybody has been super nice. They always feel bad if they can't pick us up. There's been a lot of full cars. Plus, look it's sunny now, so maybe we'll have a nice day.
Eventually, we got picked up by an amazing couple that was visiting on their honeymoon, and they drove us the 15 minutes up to the summit.
That was an awesome time. This couple from the Czech Republic who were great picked us up. Only waited about, I don't know, 12 minutes or something.
Yeah,
so
not too bad.
Going to the visitor center and then we're gonna start the trail. Check it out, Amy. We can actually see something.
Wow, is this what I was looking at this morning?
Both Amy and I were blown away by the views, and I wish I would have been able to see a sunrise here. No complaints from me though, as I knew that this was going to be a great day to hike through the crater.
That trail you can see out in the distance, that's the Sliding Sands Trail. It's going to take us all the way down into the crater.
Before leaving, we visited the Haleakala Visitor Center, which is tiny but has some information on the park and a few things you could purchase. I always get a magnet from every national park I visit, so I picked one up here and then we started the hike.
So we got to see this awesome view, but now we are heading down there, 12 miles.
No big deal.
Props again to those people who picked us up. If you're watching this, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you come up to this national park, don't be afraid of picking up the hitchhikers in that hitchhiking area. It's a part of the park that a lot of people do.
Sliding Sands Trail.
There's multiple ways to do this hike, but the way we did it was about 12 miles round trip with 2,500 feet of elevation gain.
It looks like you're hiking on the moon.
Yeah.
You can also hike down into the crater and then right back up, but that's an even tougher hike at 3,000 feet of elevation gain and only 7 miles. I saw a lot of people doing it this way, and I have to say I wouldn't do it this way myself. It's just a really long slog down into the crater just to go all the way back up on the same trail.
That's where we're heading, down all of those switchbacks.
One of the craziest things is seeing the trail out in front of you as you leave from the summit. Since there's no vegetation, you can basically see how it makes its way down into the crater and even across it.
What do you think of the views, Amy?
Pretty awesome. I like to see all the different hills and different colors.
This trail doesn't look that long, but look at the tiny people way out there on the trail.
The entire downhill portion of this trail is through the sand, which is not a big deal on the way down, but is a pretty big deal if you go up this way.
This is one of those trails where you have to prepare for anything with weather. We've already taken off our mid layers and just have our wind jackets on, but at the summit, it was like 40 degrees, and then probably when we get down there, it's gonna be pretty warm. And look at how all of the colors kind of lead down to a point down there.
Sliding sand. Trail. Boom.
Right around the 1 mile mark, you'll reach an unnamed overlook. This is a great place to hike down to if you're looking for an easier hike while you're in the park. From here you can get some great views down into the crater, and it allows you to experience the sliding sands trail without having to do all of the elevation loss that you're about to do after the overlook.
These are the only plants you can see on the trail, and it's crazy to see the little bit of green and like the sea of red.
I don't know if it really comes across in this video, but the views here are epic. This is one of the coolest national park trails I've ever done, and we're only 2 of the 12 miles into it.
You look so tiny on the trail, Amy.
I feel tiny. Everything keeps changing the farther and farther I get down into it.
The ranger told me that this is all iron oxide, all of this red. Now we can get a pretty epic view of both of those cinder cones. There's more than 2, but... And this one right here actually has like a hole in it too, which is pretty cool.
As we continued down, we got to see another one of the few plants that we saw on our hike.
We're exactly 2 miles in, and we've gone down about 1,500 feet of elevation, so we're taking a short snack break and we'll continue down.
From our break spot, we are basically eye-level view with the cinder cones that were in the crater.
We're just continuing to descend, but we're still way up here. Amy and I have both made mention that this is probably not a trail that's worth doing if it's super cloudy like it was, because the best part of this trail is just the views that you're getting the entire way down.
As we finished this last mile down into the crater, the steep descent started to level out. This is right around the 3.5 mile mark, and you've descended about 2,500 feet when you get here.
Check out all these silver plants. It's such a stark contrast to the red that's all around it. We are just continuing our descent, and believe it or not, there's still a pretty good ways down to go. It's also crazy that we're just walking along all of this lava rock.
The last half mile down to the intersection that takes us across the crater was about 500 feet of elevation loss. It was some of the steepest part of the trail so far on big switchbacks.
Like I said earlier, you definitely want to be prepared for any type of weather. I had 2 jackets on at the summit, and now I have a shorts and a t-shirt. So be prepared, it's getting warm while we're down here. All right, we made it to the intersection and we are heading to the left.
What's nice about this trail is that it's about 8.5 miles of downhill all the way to the end where you have to climb out of the crater.
It feels super crazy down here. It's like a barren lava field that we're in.
This section through the crater itself is a gradual downhill most of the way, not like the steep downhill we had been doing.
This trail is so cool. I love how unique it is every time we change to a different level. I don't think I've ever hiked through a lava field before.
Way up there is where that Summit House Visitor Center is. We've come a long way.
About a half mile after the split, the trail starts its first real uphill section. This part is short and not difficult, but note that it can get really hot with no shade. That's pretty much true for the entire crater, as you want to bring sun protection if you hike this basically year-round.
She's a little steep.
Just a little.
Amy, can you believe that we've only gone like 5 miles from the hut that's way behind you?
I feel like the hike should be over by now.
Not even halfway.
No.
That's crazy.
Oh, man.
So when you come to this intersection up here, you can either go to the left around the front or the right around the back. The right adds about a half mile, but it takes you to a couple cool things. So we're gonna go do that before heading on.
I couldn't figure out how to pronounce this online, so I'm not gonna try and butcher it, but basically we went around the cinder cone to a gap that had some beautiful views.
Look at how colorful this side of the hill is out there.
Yeah,
That's
it's like,
crazy.
It's reds and purples and orange even.
It's like super vibrant as soon as you come over the hill. So right in front of us is what's known as the bottomless pit, which as you can see is 65 feet deep. But people used to think that it went down further. I could see why. It definitely looks like there's no bottom to it.
This area was especially unique as basically nothing around it looked like it. The next part of the trail was my personal favorite as you leave the bottomless pit behind and hike over the small hill to get to Pele's paint pot.
It's crazy how it's just gray out here, and then you round this bend and there's literally rainbow colors in the dirt. And nowhere else in this entire section is it like that, except for right here.
This area is well known on the trail for its amazing vibrant colors. If you wanted to hike just to here, it's about 5.5 miles each way from the summit.
Man, this trail just feels so remote and crazy with how big it is down here.
It's like never ending too.
Yeah, so that added a half mile onto the trail, but I have to say it was pretty worth it to see the hole and to see that awesome painted area. Taking a lunch break right in the middle of the crater, and I brought an umbrella, so we're taking turns with the shade. I thought it was gonna rain, but we're using it for the sun. Not bad. After leaving our lunch spot, we are 5.8 miles from the road. It's a long ways.
Something you really need to note about this trail is just how long it is. By the time we got here and had our lunch, we both couldn't believe that we were only halfway done with the trail. Plus, some of the most remote and barren sections were ahead of us and the steep uphill.
The wind is starting to kick in again. It's bringing some clouds out in the distance, and gotta bust out the jackets. It's another about 2.5 miles of downhill before we do the uphill push at the end. It's crazy how fast you can see the clouds moving above Amy's head. There's a beautiful rainbow to encourage us on. You can see our end goal for the hike, those switchbacks going up the side of the cliff. The parking lot is like right here. So we gotta go all the way up there.
This section of the trail feels completely different than what you've been hiking through previously. Here there's lots of plant life shooting out through the rocks, and there's a lot of up and downs on the trail.
The rainbow is getting closer to us, so I think that means that the rain might be getting closer to us too.
As you reach the crater walls, you'll get to the Haleakala campground. From here, it's about 4 miles to the park road.
A little tired and a little rainy.
It's on and off rain, a pretty good amount right now, but we're just walking downhill, a little bit flat for like the next 1.5 miles before we start the uphill. There's another rainbow that's beckoning us on into the rain. I got pretty wet. Did you get pretty wet too?
Did you? My hair's wet.
And now it's sunny again. It'd be nice if it was sunny a little bit on the way up.
From the campground, it's about 1 mile to where you start the climb out of the crater. Basically, the entire time you're walking, you can see it looming in front of you in the distance. Unfortunately for us, the rain was also starting to pick up a little bit.
Had to switch back to my iPhone as we're coming up here because it's raining again. But you can see people way up there. Which way do we go?
Up.
From here, the last 2.5 miles basically go up 1,500 feet of elevation.
started this hike in like a different universe, and we've like passed through to now.
I know, it feels so different with all the green and the rain. It's like we're in a rainforest or something. All right, here we go. The uphill begins now.
As you begin the ascent, the switchbacks are small and steep.
It's like a weird rain where it's kind of misting more than it's raining right now, but it's definitely making the rocks slippery. We're going a little slower than normal.
Looking back towards the crater that we came through, clouds had basically moved in and covered it so that you couldn't see anything.
Pops would hate this trail. It's too steep.
Very steep.
I'm not gonna lie, after about 9 miles of going downhill, it actually feels pretty good to be going uphill. It's a little bit loose with all these rocks, so you gotta have watch where you're going, but it's not too bad.
As we continued to make our way up, the clouds started to clear and give us some views back towards the crater.
Wow, look at the rainbow! Woo! I can easily say this is the most rainbows I've ever seen in one day. You too, Amy?
100%.
Getting to hike along this ridgeline and look down on the rainbow is one of the coolest things I've done in a long time.
And just like that, our rainbow is gone and the clouds are coming back.
You basically have an entire mile of hiking up switchbacks to get to the top of this ridgeline.
Man, the drop-offs on this trail are no joke. You can see how far we've come way down there, but this is tough.
Once you make it to the top of this ridge, you have the toughest mental part of the trail as you're on mile 11 and you have 1 mile left to get to the parking area. This mile isn't particularly hard, but it's just a long, gradual uphill and you'll just want it to be over.
We're definitely struggling on this last part. It is steep and it's like rainy and cold. Can't wait for this to be over. Good news, we see the cars. Bad news, they're still pretty far away. At least we have an end point though. Woo! I can't remember the last time I was so excited to see a parking lot. Nice work.
That was tough.
That was really tough.
Oh man.
Not doing the sliding sands trail again.
Nope, one and done. Good enough for me.
After about 7 hours and 12 miles of hiking, we have made it to the end. That was pretty brutal. I think I'll probably like it better when I think back on it tomorrow, but it was a little bit of a tough end.
We're gonna be sore tomorrow.
That's it for our time in Haleakala National Park. If you want to see the other side of the national park near Hana, you can click up here, and we will see you on the next one before my camera fogs up.